introduction by Mr. Jeff Gordon, and then I'm going to go right into a little bit of racing history here in the Daytona area.
Hi, this is three-time Daytona 500 champion Jeff Gordon. I'm pleased to welcome all of you to Daytona International Speedway, the world's first motorsports stadium. Nearly 60 years ago, a small-town auto mechanic named Bill France Sr. dreamed of creating a racetrack that was bigger, faster, and more exciting than any before it. In the ensuing decades, his belief in big dreams transformed Daytona International Speedway into the world's center of racing. Synonymous with names like Petty, Earnhardt, and Allison, Daytona International Speedway has captured the imaginations of the millions who have set foot on these hallowed grounds. Now, Bill France's dream has taken yet another step forward with the reimagination of this American icon, blending the modern amenities that today's sports fans demand with the heritage that race fans expect from Daytona. As 2016 saw the closest finish in the history of the Great American Race, it not only conjured memories of Johnny Beauchamp and Lee Petty's three-wide photo finish in the inaugural 1959 Daytona 500, but reminded race fans everywhere that a reimagined race experience hadn't changed the core of what Bill France envisioned decades ago. Welcome to the World Center of Racing.
Racing in Daytona now began with this speedway we're about to see. It, of course, began on our famous beaches, and that beach racing goes all the way back to the year 1903. Began as a match race held on Ormond Beach, north of us. Ever heard of Ormond Beach referred to as the birthplace of speed? Now you know, they really work. Match racing only went on for a few years, and then individual record runs took over our famous beaches. One car all by itself, just how fast can we go? And many land and world speed records were set, broken, and reset on our famous beaches, climaxing in 1935 with Sir Malcolm Campbell and the Bluebird at 276 miles per hour. Shortly thereafter, the Bonneville Sawgrass out in Utah figured out they could go faster. Losing that venue, we were looking for a replacement in a hurry. So we began oval racing on the beach. Half the track was made that large vehicles could access the infield area. You're going to learn later on in your tour today, in fact, see for yourself how that all changed in the year 2004 and 5. This is our 3,000-foot super stretch we're moving on to, the fastest part of the speedway. Why faster than other parts? Quite simply because it is straight. Look left, you'll clearly see turn number 2. Look right, turn number 3. As you make our way around, you're going to notice quite clearly the front side is not at all straight. There's a little road coming in and out of the super stretch. That's actually part of our road course, yeah. That's called a chicane or bus stop. The road course is used by sports cars, motorcycles, and, would you believe, even go-karts. And most of that road course is right out on the main super speedway, through the high banks, the tri-oval, the whole 9 yards. But in addition to the chicane area, the road course event will also race the infield. We'll take a look at that part when we get to the other side of our speedway. Most of the racing we do here, round and round we go, no deviation, 2 1/2 mile speedway. You're looking upon turns 3 and 4 of that speedway, 31 degrees of banking. Now folks, that is so steep that even under a caution period, our cars still want to do at least 70 miles per hour, or the force of gravity tries to pull them down toward the apron. Our turns here at Daytona are identical. Same length, 2,600 feet. Same width, 40 feet. Same 31 degree of banking. Also, from this vantage point, we get a real good look at our safer barriers and perhaps a better understanding of how they are put together and why they work. Styrofoam blocks extend out from the concrete wall. 2 meter, not solid. 2 meters, out in front. So when a car hits that barrier, the steel will bend a little bit. The blocks will crush and spring back out.
It's very
kind of an accordion effect. In fact, in the very term safer barrier, the word safer is really an acronym. It stands for steel and foam energy reduction. It sums up that barrier quite well. able to reduce the energy of the impact. The Safer Bears are one of 4 projects that took place out here in the year 2004. I'll cover the other 3 as our tour moves along. But right now I want to take you back to the year 1998 for another project of great significance. That was the year we put our lights in. Now, any race at Daytona is special, but there's something extra special about a nighttime race because this place literally lights up like a Christmas tree. Good reason for that. Surrounding the outside of the Speedway, there are 178 light poles. That's down from 202, as they did remove some light poles when they built this nice new stadium. Around the inside of the Speedway, there are 288 light boxes. Each one of those boxes contains a 2,000 light bulb. Now, that is obviously very, very bright. You might be wondering how we can pull that off and not mess up the driver's vision. Well, if you look into one of those boxes to the left, you see a reflection. There are mirrors in there, and those mirrors are raised in such a way that even if a driver should spin out looking directly into one of those boxes, that driver might be blinded. No, won't be blinded. Approaching pit road to the left, which we'll bypass for now and catch in on a U-turn, you're going to see a grassy area between pit road and the actual Speedway. This is called the football field. Now that is more than just a nickname. We have indeed played football games in this area. This is also where they paint those huge sponsor logos on race day. And once a year, this pretty grass actually gets killed on purpose, yeah. In the month of March, they're going to lay down about 6 tons of dirt and clay, build a motocross course, and run races on top of it. It does tend to kill the grass. Approaching the start-finish line, we call this the tribal area. Remember I told you the front side, not straight like the back. You can clearly tell that. This is 18 degrees of banking. Not nearly as steep as our turns, but as you can clearly see, still pretty steep. 18 degrees of banking through this particular area. Across the football field, ahead a bit to our left, you'll see a small grandstand area. Those are called the patio stands. They'll put a roof over for race day. They'll put tents behind those stands for hospitality purposes, as most of those seats are occupied by sponsors and their guests. We talked about a road course earlier, and I told you that most of the road course right out here on the main Speedway, just the way we've been coming. With the chicane in the back, I also told you they must make a run through the infield. That starts right here.
Watching a video the other day.
Road course racing only, all of the racing right straight to the next turn. I'm not going to run the whole infield, but I just want to get you a little bit of an idea all around that blue guardrail. And then we're going to come right back out onto the Speedway in this area to our left. Now, of course, in a road course event, that white wall would not be in the way. 3.56 mile course. Speedway plus infield plus chicane. There you have it. That's our road course. In the year 2010, we also got real busy out here. That was the year we repaved the entire Speedway from one end to the other. 7 inches thick, 4 layers of asphalt. That included pit road we're about to go down. While they were at it, they widened pit road by 11 feet, and they did something new. This had been asphalt all the way to the white wall. It still is, the lane we're driving down. But as you can see, the pit stalls themselves are now concrete. 43 pit stalls along pit road. The cars must maintain a 55 mile per hour speed limit in this area. We're going to take a look at the infield, the next portion of our tour, and make our one and only stop right around the corner. This is a nice stop. It's going to give each family or group the opportunity to go right in front of the Victory Lane platform. There's going to be a track photographer in here. The pictures they take, you may look at back at the main building along with others. But it is okay to take pictures with your own camera. That way you're covered no matter what you decide later. In fact, we'll actually take that picture for you, because if you're taking a picture, you won't be in it. So when it comes your turn, I highly recommend you load your camera.
Turn the car up.
you get the Wawa yet?
Kind of looks like signals.
You have to go to Wawa before you leave it.
Take a picture of what?
All kinds of Wawas in there.
America, Rolex, Sports Cars, motorcycles, go-karts, the Red Bull Challenge, I could go on and on. This particular garage we're passing through right now would always be reserved for our NASCAR Xfinity Series anytime they have an upcoming event. Our Sprint Cup garages, that's the big boys, that's the major leagues, is part of an area known as the fan zone that we're going to pull into. And as I slowly turn, you will see that our other set of garages has something the blue garages did not have. Yeah, windows. So as we approach race day, you're on one side of that window, and right on the other side is your favorite car, driver, and team as they get ready. There's even slots at the bottom of those windows. If you catch your favorite driver or crew member, they're not too busy, you might be able to take yourself some autographs. The fan zone. An idea of what goes on before the green flag drops. When I made the U-turn earlier down Pit Road, I said, okay, here's where they come in off the Speedway, and here's where they go back out. Well, now here's where they come to in a road course event. This is called the International Horseshoe, the sharpest turn on the road course. Off to the left is a rather exclusive area, the driver-owner compound, for the most part reserved for car owners and the race car drivers themselves, where they will park their motorhomes. In the distance, you'll see our Infield Care Center at this speedway, known as the Florida Hospital Care Center. They have one both inside and outside. As you make our turn, you see a building called the Boardwalk Club. It overlooks a lake. Why do we have a lake at a racetrack? Well, folks, that's a man-made lake that was created back in 1958 when they dug a great big hole in the ground. Why would they do that? Quite simply, that's where they got the dirt from to build the banking around the Speedway. And that job required a tremendous amount of dirt, about 1 million cubic yards. That's a lot. And actually that lake, which is called Lake Lloyd, used to be a lot bigger. Original size of Lake Lloyd, 44 acres. Today, 29. 15 acres of Lake Lloyd was filled right back in. That was also one of those projects of 2004. The filled-in portion of Lake Lloyd then became a premium RV and motorhome section known as the Geico Shores. Well, we actually have about 2,000 RV and motorhome spaces available. The area on the lakefront has become very popular since its creation, as they have the hookups they need and a good look at the race from atop their motorhomes. Look left, you'll see one of 3 scoring trilons we have around our speedway. Come race day, next to all those position numbers would be car numbers with the lap count up top. We have 3 of those, so you can check out who's where. All right, back to 2004. 4 projects. I'm talking about the safer barriers, the rebuilding of the infield, the filling of the lakefront. That means I got 1 to go. And that one was the building of a super tunnel. We're headed for it. As you approach, I got some more history for you. When our Speedway first opened in 1959, it did open with tunnels, and we do still use them. Our original twin tunnels, we drove right by earlier, we'll drive by again on the opposite of the Speedway, 25 feet under the racing surface, 240 feet long. Well, the very tram you now set in does not fit. The tunnel we're approaching is 35 feet under the racing surface. It is 600 feet long, and will actually accommodate 2 semis, 1 coming and 1 going. Looking back, I sometimes wonder how we managed all those years without this newer tunnel. Here's why. Prior to its completion, which was actually the first part of 2005, any and all large vehicles needing access to the infield area would have to cross right over the actual speedway itself through one of 4 gates, just as we did the early part of our tour. So you got a day with activity on that speedway. Guess what? You would have needed to wait for a break in the action. As you're about to clearly see, that is no longer necessary. Even with on-track activity, RVs, motorhomes, and yes, the haulers that bring in the cars and equipment can move right on through. This tunnel is made up of 95 individual concrete arches. Also, as we pass through, there's some pictures on both sides. Since I'm moving through a tunnel, I can't stop and talk about them. But do the best you can to look on both sides. The left side is historical pictures. In other words, historical moments in our history. And then on the right side is a representation of all the different types of racing we do here. If you thought we were just cars, you're going to think again when you see all these pictures on the wall. Like the whole weight of the world was just lifted from you. I recall I told you just moments ago when talking about the lakefront that we actually have a couple thousand RV and motorhome spaces available. Well, not all of those are in the infield we just pulled out of. In fact, about half around here behind turns 1 and 2. Now, we don't get to see all this lot as we're going to move away from it, but I can tell you it's quite large. Covered in RVs and motorhomes as we approach one of our big events. Also, keep looking right and see our Daytona flat track area all around that white wall. That's a quarter-mile dirt track that is raced by both go-karts as well as motorcycles. Now, they will also race the road course that I've talked about a few times today. We've been known to have those races going on at the same time, both inside and outside. That short track racing used to be done away from our Speedway at Memorial Stadium about 1.5 miles down the road. But several years back, when that stadium decided they wanted to go back to playing football and do away with racing, we needed to move that track up here. When I say move it, we literally moved it. That's up the dirt they had been racing on and laid it down here. Alright, let's learn a little bit about this brand new stadium. You see it from the inside, you're going to see it from the outside, and you're going to learn about it. 2.5-year project, folks. Hold on to your hats. $400 million. Ground was broken in July of 13. As early as our Speed Weeks of 2015, we were able to seat about 20,000 people in the Florida Hospital gate to our right. And then coming back in July of last year, we were able to add another 10,000 on the opposite end. So a lot of folks did get a sneak preview, but the stadium only became available to the public in its entirety this very year in January and February. It features 5 gates. We just drove by the Florida Hospital gate, and we're actually driving down the Florida Hospital walkway. About to pass under one of 3 solar panel groupings now. Not just this grouping by itself, but all those together, 7,000 solar panels installed by Florida Power and Light, generating 2.3 megawatts of emission-free energy. After the right is our AAA gate. Now, all these gates have different things to see and do, and obviously you're going to be concentrating on that particular sponsor. But I can tell you one thing that all these gates do have in common. That would be a stairwell, an escalator, and an elevator, all very, very close together. You'll see what I mean here momentarily. Got all access to it. The process is using the escalators right now. There's the stairwell, and the elevators are off to the left behind those that glass coating area. This is the World Center Racing Gate. It's the only gate that doesn't have a sponsor, but in a way it does, as we are known as the World Center of Racing. So that is pretty much our gate. We sponsor it. Next gate to come on board is the Toyota gate. You'll see a lot of new Toyota vehicles, and they have a nice display of Toyota racing show cars. This stadium seats 101,500. We did not gain seats, we actually lost seats. We just made it a lot nicer. Off to the right, another Florida Hospital Care Center. Remember I told you we have them inside and outside. see a very nice looking glass and chrome building. Corporate offices of several of our divisions. International Speedway Corporation, owners of this speedway, as well as 12 others across the country. NASCAR, talked about that, the sanctioning body that holds it all together. IMSA, our sports car division, and AMA for our motorcycles as well as motocross. Back to the right, our fifth and final gate, our Sunoco gate. I have three statues coming up on the right side. The first one is Bill France Jr. A couple of times on tour today. Bill Jr. took over the reins about 1977. This red area Walk of Fame honors many of our past Daytona 500 champions. One of those, the legendary Dale Earnhardt. The final statue we drive by is the man himself who got it all started, Bill France Sr. In that statue with Bill Sr. is wife Ann. I told you on the way back when I say goodbye, you still got some fun things to do. And one of those is to see, you're going to get to see the winning car, the actual winning car of this year's Daytona 500. So on the way back, we're going to hear from the winning driver of that race.
Hi, this is 2016 Daytona 500 champion Denny Hamlin. Thank you for visiting Daytona International Speedway today. As you saw firsthand, everything at the world's first motorsport stadium has been reimagined. Whether it's the first time here or you're a Daytona veteran, the stadium has reinvented the motorsports experience for everyone. Daytona's schedule of events has something for everyone, including stock cars, sports cars, karting, motorcycles, car shows, concerts, and more. The final stop on today's tour features my number 11 FedEx Toyota Camry that I drove to Victory Lane in the closest Daytona 500 in history. This Camry is in exact same condition as it was in Victory Lane, confetti and all. It's an exciting time here at the World Center of Racing, and we hope to see you here again.
Hey, been my pleasure, folks. I hope you enjoyed your tour, learned a thing or two about our Speedway this morning and afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your day at the Speedway and the rest of your vacation in the Daytona Beach area. Now, to complete your tour, you will be entering locked doors. Yes, indeed, they will be locked right behind you. So I urge you to not put this off, because I cannot guarantee admission later on. This is part of your tour. And also the recently installed Motorsports Hall of Fame you're going to get to see in there too. That's where you're going to see the Bluebird and some of those other things I talked about with you in Victory Lane. For now, just hang out by those blue doors. Again, they are locked, so wait for me and I'll be right out.